Now, in the last video I talked about that this is what Minecraft finished product would look like. So building a Minecraft would mean this with all the interior that's done. I told you that when you play Hytale, you really are just at the beginning. So today we start with choosing our tools. We need 2 tools most of the time. You have your entity tool and you have your selection tool. Most of today's work will be done with the entity tool itself and the spawn entity option right here. In this case we are using items most of the time and some models. We don't use NPCs. For a simple build like this, we don't really need to have entities with AI and behavior. We just want to make it look good so everyone can use it for whatever purpose they want, and you could add entities to it, but that's more a use case for building maps and dungeons and stuff like that. So in our case, items and models it is. And we start with the first item I know I want to have here, and that is the broom. And now I got the option to rotate it, which doesn't make much sense for this item. And I get the option to scale it, and then I spawn in my item that now floats right in front of me. And with my little handy entity tool, we can now think about where would this broom stand. So to make a build look alive, it's always nice to follow the old rule of beat-ups and scar and think about the story behind your build. So what happened here? Where would the broom stand? I say the broom stands in this corner, was last used to get rid of some of the spider webs. Has still a lot of the spider webs at the bottom and stands here. But it should not stand upright. So what we'll do, we select it, we press R in my case. To make one thing very clear, I will not give you good advice with keybinds, because I totally changed my keybinds, but most of the time you can see it on the screen, like here, the rotation mode R. We use that to tilt this a little bit. If you're using the rotation tools in Hytale, there's one important thing. On reflex you want to click and drag those around, but that's not the right thing to do. If you click and drag, the whole thing starts to glitch and you won't be happy with the outcome. What you want to do is you want to make sure that the one you want to edit is highlighted like this. You can clearly see it. It's much more highlighted and then those ones. Then you click it once with your left mouse button. And after that you can just move your mouse. No clicking, no holding needed, just moving your mouse around this center pivot point. And then you can edit whatever you want. Click again and it stays in that position. What else do we need in here? We have a lot of spider webs, so normally where you have a spider web, there should be a spider. In that case, we don't use an item, we use a model. We can just search for spider. Spider cave. Whoa, wait. That's better. I like those. But much too big. So we scale it down, down, down to 0.1. No, it's a teeny tiny spider. Spawn that in here. Almost like a jumping spider. That one. Just keep it rather simple. I don't want to complicate this video too much. Also, there are a lot of other things to do. Turn it a little bit more like so. And give it a little bit, just a little bit of a tilt, like this. It just looks more real. And less like just placed there. So now we have our little spider sitting in their web. Cute. What else do we need? I'm pretty sure I would have some kind of clothes laying around. I would say there is some kind of rope or... yeah, I want this one. let's say this item is laying around here somewhere. And it's a little bit smaller than it used to be. Yeah, makes sense. Sitting here, changing clothes, so we also need some boots or shoes. Okay, let's go for some boots. So there's some nice ones. I like the diving flippers. The model is pretty funny. Yeah, why not? Let's do something funny. And let's scale them up a little bit to... yeah, 1.3, why not? Change rotation right now, like so. And then place them perfectly there, but more like... yeah. So, sitting here, getting rid of those strange shoes, strange armor, placing it there. The table already has some food items on it, but we are not eating from the table, we are not animals. So we should have a plate somewhere. Like this. But our plate is also way too big. So we go like this. Maybe even smaller. What would you say? I'm thinking about maybe making it a little bit smaller, but it could also just be because I have the seat right here. But let's say it just looks like there is only one person living here, but they have a lot of places to sit. The only real finicky thing with the entity tool right now is you have to get used to use all 3 dimensions. So you will have to move around a lot. Look at it from every angle, making use of the no collision in creative, so you really get to see every angle there is. Because if you don't do that, then the whole entity placing system will annoy you constantly, because it's almost impossible from one angle to place an entity perfect. They will start to hover over places and just look strange as soon as you change your angle. So make sure that as soon as you place something, fly around from the bottom, from the top, left, right. Look at it from every angle just to make sure that it's at the position you really want to. Being used to a grid system with blocks, like in Minecraft, really gives me a struggle to remember that I have to use all 3 dimensions now while building with prefab items or spawned entities. Because before it was pretty simple. I had my block, I placed my block, I placed the next block, it snapped to the first block, that's it. I didn't have to look, when I placed a block like this, I didn't have to look right here if it fits. Because with those entities, they move in all 3 dimensions completely free. So there is no default snapping right now happening. I can move them on half a millimeter if I want to. So you really have to make sure that everything looks the way you want to, because otherwise, I can show you right here. Let's get a little bit slower. F1 and F2 make you slower and faster. If you see it, now the plate is hovering, and that's what you want to avoid. And to avoid that, you just have to look from every angle for everything you do. A little bit tedious, but totally worth the outcome. This should be hovering right now because I want to put something right there. There's one thing I learned as a kid, watching mice on TV. Cheese is the only real thing you want in life. This cheese cannot be too big. It still is huge. Holy shit. And now making sure, looking from every angle, is the cheese correct? No, it's not. If I'm looking from this angle, I can see it. The cheese is hovering. I mean, I like the idea of floating cheese, because that means you can eat more cheese and have to lift less of it. But for the sake of this build, we make sure that it at least looks like it's real. This one. But now I'm thirsty. So, what's the next thing to do? Getting something to drink. Are there drink items in the game? Sadly, no. In that case, we make us one. I want this. Okay, let's look at it first in original size, just to get an idea. Yeah, that's too big. But we have the power to make it smaller. Now let me explain you the tools a little bit. If you have selected an item or an entity or a model and you're flying around with it like this, if you want it to be closer to you, you use your scroll wheel and just scroll it closer. This is the maximum I can get, so I cannot get closer like this. Or if you want to get it farther away, you can use the scroll wheel and turn it farther away. Let's get outside so you can see it. It goes farther away, 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 it keeps going. But sometimes it's like this, and you're like, I cannot get it in the right position. Try using the scroll wheel, get it a little bit closer, put it a little bit farther away. It sometimes really helps to place the items where you want it. Another great trick for placing items on hard surfaces, so that you have a little less to do with adjusting for floating. Let them stick in, so that you see that they sink into the texture of the bottom block. Then go up and try to find this small sweet spot when there's like 1 or 2 pixels just inside of the surface. Place it like this. Most of the time they are not floating and you don't have to adjust anymore. Like this. If you look at it, looks like it's standing on top. There's no floating. Z-fighting normally shouldn't be an issue with that. Now the next question is, do we drink out that big bottle? No, we don't. So we need something like a mug. The mug is right here. Let's turn it the wrong way because no one can hold it like this. There's the mug. And now we make sure that it's not floating. You see here, it's sinking inside the texture, and I'm just trying to keep it at around 1 millimeter. And looks okay, but looks empty. How do we fix that? We use another entity, one I just saw a second ago. And it's this one. Or this one. Which one do we choose? I think this one is perfect. And now all I need to do is... the rotation isn't important, but I now need to find the perfect size. I think 0.4 is correct, but let's find out. First of all, flip it on its head. The lines on the circles, those ones here, they can help you find specific angles. Like, for example, I want it to point exactly down. So I'm just looking for that line, making sure it's in the middle, and click. Now I can be pretty sure that it's correctly turned on a predefined angle. The only issue is I don't know how to find the pivot point now. There it is. If you have a hard time aligning stuff, make sure to lower your movement speed. The slower you move, the better it gets. I mean, not perfect. I bet this would be super easy for people with high-end hardware. So if you're lucky and have a high DPI mouse and can set this up very well, then you probably can do a much better job than I did, but I'm happy with it. It looks like what is inside here is also inside here, and you can drink of it. And no one will ever know how I did it. Except the 20 people that watch this video. But thank you for watching. Let's keep going. So I have something to drink, I have something to eat, I have something to clean. But I'm missing something to clean. We need a bucket to make sure that it's properly scaled, because most of the items we are using are scaled down. We are keeping up this trend. But where would that bucket stand? I say it stands down here because it never really got used. Right now in Hytale there are no cats. The one cat you can get is this kitten model, which is super cute. And what we will do with this little kitten is making it the joy of the house by placing it here, selecting it again so we can turn it around, maybe having it look a little bit more to the door. So if you come in, there, kitty is watching. Now back to the old trick, how to make your models look more alive and your scene more realistic. You select what you want to change. Just moved it a little bit. Select it. Now press Alt and R for the head. The head is already looking in the right spot, but if we now tilt it to the side just a little bit. And now making sure that it's like slightly tilted up, because kitty will look at us, not at the floor. And we come in and it looks like kitty is actually looking at us. We can maybe even go a little bit more in that direction if it lets me. Thank you. Even a little bit more like this. Come in. But that's enough for this one. I showed you a little bit how to use the entity tools and how to make a little bit more detail inside of your builds. There's still a lot to do inside this house, and I will finish it at some point. For you to see that, you really should like or comment on this video, because I'm still learning myself and I'm far from the best builder there is, so maybe you can even give me some tips. Let me know, and thanks for watching.